Now, many people have heard tales of Scientology as a paranoid cult with its strange belief about alien contamination. I had my own very distant brush with its strangeness in 2007, the day after a BBC Panorama documentary in which the reporter John Sweeney lost his temper on camera in frustration. I came into work to find a package containing a DVD of that moment had been individually addressed and mailed to me and to every single member of staff in the newsroom, and presumably of every other major broadcast organisation in the country, with a letter to tell me what an unhinged person that reporter was. Going Clear, Alex Gibney's new documentary film about Scientology, is an astounding revelation about the alleged scale of financial and personal abuse carried out by one of the richest organisations in America. It's based on Lawrence Wright's book by the same name, and in the film, Gibney weaves together the story of Scientology's founding and its beliefs with powerful testimony from former leaders and defectors who were once at the very top of the church's leadership. At the heart of the film is David Miscavige, who's headed the church since L. Ron Hubbard's death.
We're out to make every life extraordinary. And if by chance it ever seems laborious or a sacrifice, then you are looking at the off-ramps instead of the highway. You are missing the signpost up ahead, the one that reads, "Next stop, infinity."
A clip from Going Clear. Tim Robey reviews films for the Daily Telegraph and joins me now. Tim, I thought I knew a lot about Scientology. This film astounded me. What were your impressions?
Yeah, it really does pull some stuff out of the hat that you're not prepared for. It's also very much the film that Scientologists don't want you to see, which is exactly as it should be. You can be very confident that Tom Cruise does not want you to see this. It basically argues that in the kind of history of American money-making scams, Scientology is about the weirdest and the most wildly successful you could possibly come up with, going right back to its beginnings, and also the most dishonest. I mean, L. Ron Hubbard, the founder of the movement, the science fiction author who decided and realised that he could make much more money if he founded a sort of pseudo-religion and started to sell it to people so that the IRS can't tax him on his earnings. Yeah. It's quite amazing.
Let's talk about the structure, because L. Ron Hubbard and his beliefs are only the beginning of the film. It goes in to look at specifically Tom Cruise and John Travolta. It looks at the battle with the IRS and the authorities and the dirty tricks it employs against its critics, and then the whole this culmination of what they did with their leadership in the last few years.
I mean, it just gets sort of dirtier and dirtier and more violent as well. I mean, it really nails the character of David Miscavige as a deeply kind of disturbing individual, and, you know, someone who physically abused a lot of his staff and all of this. But it does take you through step by step, and you kind of see the deepening and worsening situation that any member of the cult found themselves in. I mean, look at Tom Cruise, for instance, who stepped away from Scientology in the 90s when he was married to Nicole Kidman, partly because her father was a psychologist. So he was you know, enemy number one as far as the movement was concerned. They stepped away, and then as the relationship came to its end, they came back in, dragged him back in, and did these audits, encouraged him to wiretap Nicole Kidman's phone, which his lawyer denies happens, but the film pretty much proves it did happen.
She's the only voice I wanted to hear, because obviously people at Tom Cruise, and it's said in the film, did not take part. But there's very specific allegations. There was a campaign to basically drive her out, and she doesn't talk. There's also amazing personal testimony from this woman called Spanky, who was John Travolta's sort of former kind of very close advisor within Scientology, whose story again is heartbreaking.
I mean, there are so many stories. There's also the girlfriend they set up with Tom Cruise directly after his breakup with Nicole. That's another terrible one. I mean, all the lives that have actually been destroyed over the years by Scientology. That's the real revelation of the film.
And the use of news and documentary investigations, because there have been many made. I mean, the panoramic, it's only a brief mention, but there's a scene where you see 4 ex-wives of the 4 leaders who'd left, all sitting there on a CNN show, and actually using the same
They're delivering
script.
the same spiel, basically. Yes, they've been trained to deny everything that's being said. I mean, legally, the thing is, we weren't even sure we were going to get to see this film in the
I
UK.
wondered legally how it had been cleared, especially in the UK, where I think free speech amendment, we don't have the same legal protection as the
That's
States
right,
does.
and they've managed to pull it off, but there's still lawsuits pending over the distributors and everything, because there are many people who do not want you to see this film.
Operates, it does use the law. Briefly, timing-wise, does this suggest the organisation's on the brink? Because it's hinted that it's maybe
That would be interesting to know, wouldn't it? I mean, they do big up Tom Cruise as kind of the hero of the movement, but his really, really insane days were 2006, the jumping on Oprah's sofa, and he's maybe edging back away from it again, you wonder. And if he were to depart it again, would the movement crumble? I don't know.
And that's the big question the film poses at the end, is if he or John Travolta were to leave now, it could change everything. Thank you so much, Tim Robey. Going Clear is a remarkable film. It's in selected cinemas from Friday, June the 26th.